All right, but what's going on? Good morning, everybody. The Bay Ragni Show. We are live, and after a little bit of confusion, probably on my part, without a doubt, uh, we were supposed to just have one, but now we have both. The two guys that brought to us, from what I'm hearing, could be the metal album of the year. This new,
Whoa!
hey, that's what I was saying. So
Nice.
you guys got to tell me. But here they are, with the one and only Mr. David Reece and Herman Frank of
Hi, how are
Iron
you?
Hey,
Allies.
everybody. Hey, everybody.
So these guys, we just I just found out too, like due to modern technology, they're not even over here in the United States. Herman's in Germany, David's in Italy, and they're joining us this afternoon with the cat. So, all right, guys, I gotta like, how did this whole thing come together? I mean, two former ACCEPT members from different times joining forces and becoming true Iron allies.
I'm going to point to that guy right over there. That guy. You answer the question. I got two
So,
fingers here.
long story, very short. It came up in my mind for a couple of years, and
Okay.
then there was a little time in my schedule, and I said, "Hey, now get it done. Just have a look on Facebook for David's address or something, and find out where this guy lives and where he stays." I found out, and I just wrote him a message. Hey, David, I'm planning on a new thing. Please give me a call. He called me right, I guess, after an hour or something. He must be hanging on Facebook all the time.
Oh, God. You're letting
So
out all my personal secrets, man. Stop it.
yeah. So we started a nice conversation, and from the start on, we had been the same thoughts in mind. So it was obvious. I sent it in two or three backings of songs I prepared and wrote in the past, and told him, hey, if you feel kind enough, hey, just try and keep a little bit of melody or whatever you want to do on the song. He sent me back 2 days later, perfect songs. So I said to myself, wow, this guy is the one who can take my case. That makes that makes sense to open up a third band of mine, and let's start it. And so we started working back and forward. Thank God for internet and Zoom calling and WhatsApp video and stuff like that. We discussed all the songs. I sent it as a backing in a while. Then he sent it back, and as I said, we had been going back and forward. And after a couple of weeks, months, we had already the most of the album written.
Wow.
So it was very clear that we want to do it. And then
Yeah.
I decided to myself, I would love to see this guy once in a person in front of me, just to shake hands.
Yeah.
So
That's the way he puts it. I think it was a undercover spy
yeah,
move, find out what I'm really like. I'm gonna infiltrate his battle zone and figure out if I really want to do this. But it worked out great because
yeah,
I tricked him. I took him to a vintage Italian cafe because he loves Italian food, and my wife and I searched for a real one, and this one's ancient, and we took him there, and yeah, we won him over. It worked.
yeah. As I said, I visited him in Piacenza, where David lives. It's next to Milano, and it was quite a nice day and quite nice evening. And from that point on,
Hmm.
it was, for me, it was very clear to just to put all my efforts on this thing.
So,
Yeah.
so the moral of this whole story is what you're saying is actually Facebook is a pretty good thing.
For
For
once in
this
my
thing,
life,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
I do agree.
I agree with you totally. No politics, just rock and roll. This is a message I received from him on Messenger. And the funniest thing about myself and Herman, we both had been in the same band at different times, but I never physically met him. I know that I played some festivals that he was playing,
Wow.
and I was on the bill, and I thought, I'm going to hang out and meet this dude, but I never found him, and he never found me.
Yeah,
So, you know what? 30 years later, he's sitting in my living room, and we've recorded, 5 or 6 bed tracks demoing the record and we're having dinner together. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So when you guys get that first phone call, do you sit there and compare war stories about Wolf Hoffman and laugh?
Not at
Not
all.
really. No,
Not at
I
all.
mean, we've moved past that. I mean, we both had experiences and somehow together in a different way. And I knew his guitar playing. Herman's was fabulous. And when you're a songwriter and you write lyrics and melodies, somebody sends me a track and I just go, oh God, I can't listen to this. But immediately I penned 2 songs, as he said, and I think I tracked them the next day. Wow. And I got a video back from him listening to what I did, and all I could see was his cowboy boots and his horns up like this. That's all I saw. And cigarette smoke blowing out of his mouth. And I said, well, I guess he likes it. And he was like, yeah. And then I went to Denmark for about 2 months, and I think I finished writing the lyrics to his music there. So we started this thing April 2021. Yeah, we started talking.
Okay. Yeah, something.
And I believe probably August last year the songs were written. So.
Well, Herman, like you had mentioned, like you figure, all right, let's do a third project now, third band. Why do a third one? And I mean, I know it's at the time where people are doing multiple projects, but why add the third one now?
Actually, there's no special reason for it. As I said, I just wanted to look for some guys who can take my pace. I live music. I lived this for 40 years, and hey, maybe I got lucky and have a couple of riffs in my mind. Maybe too many. So I easily could. I just like to write music and record CDs, and I would love to go with this thing with Aaron Ellis out to the road and play lots of shows. That's what all I want to do, and so I just wanted to do it.
And that was my next question, because we see a lot of this now where these bands get together, guys from other bands, and they form these new projects, and then they get labels like AFM, and they're putting albums out, but they never actually end up doing live shows. So when you guys put this together, was that the talk though? It was like, all right, we're going to do this, but we want to play live. We want to tour.
Yeah,
maybe that's I guess that's the main reason.
Yeah, I mean, you can't. I mean, a monkey can make records at home. I mean, like you said, the saturation. What's the use in sitting at home and recording in your living room, making albums if you're not out putting on the stage? Because that's when you get the true song. I mean, the energy. I mean, we just filmed 2 videos together, and I looked at Herman. After completing my go, if we can maintain that energy on stage, just think what it's going to be like live. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, because it was intense. I mean, we shot 2 in one day, and nobody waned. Everybody was on fire, and I said, "Wow, we're playing to a playback, but look at the band. Got the energy, And it without touring, there's no sense in it. You know what I mean? I mean, you can make records, write records at home, fine if that's what you want to do.
But that's my feeling though too, and I've said this many times to many people I've interviewed over the years. Playing in local bands when I was younger, that was the whole point. Like, you write that new music and you keep saying to yourself, I can't freaking wait to play this live. I can't wait to see the reaction, feel the energy. And people are making amazing music, but then that's it. It's like never goes nowhere else.
Yeah. Well, I think, like you said earlier, they're in so many different projects that, the one that's got the biggest name, of course, that's their focus, and they're going to go with that, but they want to keep busy because there's downtime. So then a bunch of guys call each other that are bored to tears, and they say, let's make a record. Mm-hmm. And I understand it. I mean, I've done it. But, it's like the old days, like you said. When I was doing it as a kid, we would write the songs in these crappy hotel rooms, right? These goofy songs. And we were playing in the same venue, say 5 nights locked in, and then you go to the next 5 days to the next venue. And we'd try it out live in front of 20 people. But by the time we went in to record it in a studio, it actually was, wow, this song, now we really have it together as a band. Mm-hmm. And that's why, Herman, you can take the rest of it with Horus Studios, how we recorded it. We actually did a lot of this stuff together. as opposed to being on the internet when it came to the final.
Worth.
Yeah.
Which I love to hear that too, because it's still like surprising and weird to hear these stories of like, oh yeah, we just emailed stuff back and forth and recorded it now.
Yeah, that was just for the beginning. I mean, let's put it this way: the final product. That's the reason why we went to the studio, and we choose a studio with history, with a proper engineer, a nice desk, a nice living room, a nice recording room,
apartments like the old days.
Wow. And we recorded the drums, the real drums, because I don't like to record music with a drum computer. I mean, there's no sense for. So Malte, the bass player, joined. Mike, the other guitar player, joined, and we had a wonderful time for about 14, 16 days. It was just amazing. But the internet helps to send back and forward the files that you already know in the studio. Oh, that might be the thing I have to record. So you don't spend that much money in the studio. It wasn't that cheap. So just to be prepared, Right. But the end result, the vibe and the energy, you have to put it in the studio.
Yeah.
When you record it. And then you can talk to back and forward to David. Oh, is it okay with this thing? Or is it? Should we do a turnaround? Or should we add another harmony or something like that? But most of all the things, you have to be clear upfront to enter a studio.
And the singers are notorious, my friend, for recording at home and making records and thinking everything they do is brilliant. But I can tell you, I'm far better with an engineer and people behind me producing behind the glass. If you're not selling the song to the guys sitting behind the desk, then the public's not going to buy it. You know what I mean? If you're not performing it, I mean, I used to have a system in my home and I would walk by it and go, I'll sing tomorrow. But when I'd sit down and record, it sounded like that. You know what I mean? It would be like, oh God, I got to finish this track. And it just is, there's no, I don't know what the word is, but it's commitment or whatever. I'm far better when somebody's looking at me through the glass because you can feel it, the expression if the people are moving.
Yeah.
And when you walk in the room, how was that? And they're all like, great, next one. And then you go, well, or they say, could you try this line? Could you because on this, like he said earlier, the demo process, some of the songs had different titles, different storylines. And then Herman came up with, I was talking about, gang violence and prison stuff because I like to watch those documentaries, blood in, blood out. And they were talking to these gang guys, you're in or you're dead. And especially the lifers. And I said that to him and he goes, that's the title for that other song. And I said, really? And he goes, yeah. And then he sang it to me, blood in, blood out. And I went, oh, it fits better. And then the story actually made more sense. And then I rewrote it in a few minutes and boom, because that's what I want.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's the creative process. And that's why I'm blessed to have the internet and talk to guys like you and Herman. And we got an idea. We can argue. We can talk. We can laugh. We can create. You can do whatever you want. But then you get into that atmosphere because you're over in the studio. There's nowhere else to go.
Yeah.
You're locked in a room together.
That's that's I mean that's like the live playing, but honestly it's like I never even realized that, even from doing all these interviews, because nobody's ever said that. Because you just hear about the email tracks back and forth, but nobody has ever said the energy in the studio.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah. Listen to the classic records, man. That's what we got on the sound of this record. I mean, if you listen to Priest and those guys back in 82 and 84 and UFO and those bands, those guys weren't sharing files. They were sitting in a stinky room recording, and living together and breathing the music. It's a whole different level, man.
It's the same if you do. A lot of people ask for email interviews these days. I wouldn't call it an interview. I mean, interview is somebody sitting next to me face to face, or at least I can look at his face, and that creates a different vibe.
It makes you bring out more in your head.
As David said, if I record back home in my little studio and nobody judges me, maybe I say to myself, "Oh yeah, that's good enough." Hey, but if you have David or an engineer in the studio, you have to play proper,
Mm-hmm.
So
I mean, that's actually what happened. That's actually what happened with Herman, because he played some great rhythm tracks. And then when I left, he called me up and said, I couldn't stand it. I can play it better. And he re-recorded layers and layers of guitars to make it the impact that he heard in his head, right? Herman? And I said, you did what? And he goes, I wasn't happy. I after the performance of Francesco and the guys on the record, then he went, now I got to play my game up and really make it impact. Because it's really a heavily driven guitar album. I mean, it's hands down a metal guitar album. So
it does. I mean, like you said, it does have that classic metal sound with that kind of modern feel, but a classic metal sound. I mean, it's a great freaking album.
And I have to interject and say that's what he said when he set up my kitchen table. He said, "This is what I want in a metal record. Are you in?" Because he goes, "I love your smoky, bluesy voice and your melodies, but this has to be." Who were your influences? And I told him, and they were all the same as his. And he said, that's what we got to project on this record. And we did.
That's cool. Now, have you guys played any, like, even rehearsed together, or just everything, just studio stuff? Wow.
Studio.
Is it driving you crazy? It's got to be driving you crazy.
It's killing me. I mean, I can't wait. I can't wait for the booker to say, all right, here's the schedule, and then we're all meeting in Hanover, and we're blasting this stuff out and figuring out what set works best and what song goes best with this one, and using my voice, singing aloud with the band personally, and hearing everybody lock in, because I mean they're all competent guys. Otherwise they wouldn't be playing in Iron Allies. So I know it's going to glue down.
Now, how did you find the rest of the guys? Did you know them from other bands, or?
Yeah, sure. The main point was for me to have this David as a singer. I mean, we are the creative two persons, and we write the music. So David mentioned Francesco, and I said, "Hey, cool! If you want to join in the band," I couldn't think about a better one for this thing. And he's well known for playing. He's a dude on the drums,
Wow.
So that was first choice, and so we came up with the idea. We know Malte as a bass player. Why should we look or advertise worldwide for anybody? We don't know. He's a nice guy. He's ready and willing, and the same. Same for Mike. Mike.
I mean, that was the thing. It was like I played on records with Malte and Francesco. He's played on records with Mike. And he said, well, isn't this a bit odd? And I said, why are we going to take that risk when we got something so good?
Yeah.
Bring in somebody that's going to mess up the whole mix, the batter and the kick pan, and go, we just finished an album. Now we're hunting down some other guy because we thought, just because he's got a name or whatever, it doesn't work, And we all have traveled with these guys and blood, sweat, and tears. And we went, you know what? There's no drama. Let's just make that decision now.
Yeah, and the fact that they got to play on the album too. It's not like it was just you guys and studio guys.
Yeah, absolutely. It's
a true band.
We are the leaders. We are the band.
I would say it's a very true band, and we know all these guys. I played a couple of shows with them together, so I know the energy, and we wanted to have a real band and a good live band. So there was no question about them.
That's awesome. So what's the plan now? What are you guys gonna? How are you gonna approach this now? I mean, the album comes out in 2 weeks or almost 3 weeks.
First of all, I will order a new Mercedes, David a new Ferrari.
No, I'm going to buy a Chevy truck. Yeah, I gotta have an American.
Sorry, you're American.
I'm sorry, I got it. I need a Z71, a gas-powered Z71.
I thought because you now live in Italy. So because you're now living in Italy, you would prefer a Ferrari. Okay, go for sure.
No, I mean I'd like to have one, but I mean I could buy 5 trucks for one of those things.
Yeah.
But
I guess it will be the normal process. We have to wait till the album's coming out finally. Then we have to wait for the first reactions, stuff like that. We're already talking with our agent for some live shows. The first requests are coming in, so I guess we're doing a lot of festivals next year in Europe. They're already talking about it. They're just waiting to the final thing, the people like the band, they buy the album and blah, 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 like this.
Right.
Kind of like in English, you would say, the promoters, they're not silly. They watch what's going on, YouTube views, they watch media. It's a validation. They make sure this isn't just some one-off project, because there's a blue million of those that are playing, everywhere. And so far the response has been like yours when you first opened this interview. I mean, thank you. I mean, I've been doing interviews all day long, and it's been fabulous. I mean,
do you guys do that though? Do like you just said, like the bookers and everybody, they sit and they watch the the YouTube views, then they're watching the streams and they're social media. Do you do the same thing for yourself or for other people too? You looking at them like, how the hell did they do that?
Sure, I do. Sure, I do.
But I'll tell you one thing that's not really well known is that many bands buy their own views. And the views that you see on Iron Allies are real fans. And I'm blown away by the amount of people. And you can call YouTube and make an order and buy 500,000 views in 5 minutes. They're fake people. And many bands do that to get, like, these guys have 1 million views. They must be something special. No, they're not. It's fake. But we don't do that. And because of his history, my history, the other guy's history, this sincere interest in like, what are these guys doing? And it exploded, literally in a week, so that's real. I check on bands though. Yes. I follow and see what's selling, what new bands are coming out. If there's something in it that interests me. And to be honest, there's not a lot of stuff that's coming out that blows my mind. I'm more of a 70s, 80s metal guy.
Yeah.
The new stuff that's coming out sounds like it's been put through the meat grinder and repeated from back then. You know what I mean, Herman? It's like, I've heard that riff before. Well, at least they could have changed the melody. But no, it's almost...
I'll tell you what, and I feel bad because, like I got offered you guys for an interview. I get, a few dozen of those emails a day. And I look at it from all these different PR people and these labels, and I just I feel bad and I shake my head because, and I think, Herman, you said earlier, the market is just so oversaturated with so much stuff. And it's just like you said, David, it's been the same thing going through the meat grinder over and over again. What is out there that's going to wow me and stand out? And you guys did. I was like,
thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
This is something that literally this is something that grabbed me by the balls, and it freaking, this is what I want to hear.
That's what we wanted to do when we recorded the album. I'm always as a producer always looking for the energy in this in the recordings. I'm not a friend of these many tools. They correct everything and do everything whatever. I mean, we don't need auto-tune with David's voice, otherwise I wouldn't even called him up. And I do.
If I was singing, you would have needed auto-tune.
So that's the reason why I didn't call you.
See, you didn't look me up on Facebook.
It's working fine for Beyonce. You know what I mean? Let's be honest. People like that, they've got 120 people on the staff, writers, and then they've got auto-tune, and one guy going, Yeah. She's got a nice booty and she can dance, but she can't sing.
I mean, so. I'm after 40 years in doing music, I just love to go back to the real thing. Grab your instrument, grab your mic, and just perform. And that's what I'm looking for. And a take has to be done in a half an hour, a couple of minutes, or whatever. A solo has to be done very spontaneous, something like that. Otherwise, it sounds sounds just processed. And I guess we find a very nice, a very good way. The record is sounding like it would be played live.
Yeah.
So catch energy.
And we didn't write songs where I'm singing into outer space, where I can't do that live. That's my range. And Herman was concerned about, is this key fine for your voice? And I say, yeah. So a lot of singers will go in and just go, oh, when you go see them live, it's not live. It's not what they did in the studio. And then there's no point in that. Like, look at a band, and Herman and I are both fans of UFO. I listened to a Hammersmith show today when I was waiting to start my interviews in '82. And that is a live recording with the audience. And I went, that is a touring rock and roll band. And it was brilliant. I mean, mistakes were here and there, but it was a band, you know? And that's what we want to emphasize. This isn't some, you know, project of a bunch of named guys that, you know, we want to go out on tour. Herman said it. He's got a booking agency that's behind us. Matter of fact, Herman, today I gave over Sweden and Denmark. They're interested in us. So I gave it to Henry.
Cool.
But,
Good news.
yeah. So, I mean, it's going to be a worldwide thing. I spoke with some Brazilian people this morning. They've got their arms out begging us to come down. Hopefully we get that correct. But like Herman said, the festivals definitely we're going to hit it. And that's the only way to portray what you are.
Yeah. And that's the cool thing that you guys have over there in Europe is those festivals. I mean, we have some here in the States, but it seems for some reason it seems like the ones in Europe are just more prestigious.
Where are you?
I'm in Nashville.
You're in Nashville. I lived in a small town in between Nashville and Clarksville called Charlotte. I had a little tobacco farm there back in the mid '90s.
Wow. I got here 3 years ago from Philly.
Oh, better?
Yes, yeah. I honestly, like, I mean, I lived in Philly all my life, and I never thought I would leave Philadelphia, and it's the best thing I ever did.
Good. I stayed in Bensalem for a while. It's a nice little town. I was there back in the late '80s for a couple of weeks.
Nice
area.
Yeah, yeah. Look at that. Little connections here and there.
Yeah.
But the one big difference is the food here is nothing like Philly.
Yeah, you're a hoagie shack guy.
Yeah, I'm hoagies, cheesesteaks, Italian. I'm an Italian guy, so I'm an Italian guy from South Philly. So now you're
getting some of that Nashville barbecue and that hot sauce in down there, huh?
I was always a hot sauce guy, so.
Oh boy,
absolutely.
There you go.
So, guys, I want to thank you for doing this. Thank you for actually joining forces and doing the album, more importantly. And where's the best place for everybody to learn more and keep up to date and get the album when it comes out?
Go ahead, Herman.
Thank you so much.
Iron Allies fan club page, Iron Allies Facebook. Herman's got a page. I've got a page. We're very active in social media with this. They can go to YouTube and see our first video full of surprises and our second one, Blood In, Blood Out. And we're going to be releasing a third video October 20th from the album. So we're really, really active with the fans. We have a woman named Sabina Lufit that's running our fan club page. She does a fabulous job. Come on in and add yourself on and spread the word. And we just ask everybody to please buy physical if they're able. We know it's tough out there. That's just going to keep this thing moving. Because streaming is, to me, not rock and roll. But,
No, it's not. It's not. It's such a different world. It really is.
Yeah, man. It hurts my ears. I can't listen to that hiss like a snake. It's like I listened today in my wife's car, and I was like, "This is killing me. Turn it off."
Well, guys, thanks so much. Enjoy, and come on, let's get some shows going.
All right, man. Hope to see you down in Nashville way and play a gig. Come over and say hello.
Absolutely, I hope so too. Come on, let's do it.
Next
Barbecue
here.
On the rock and roll party.
Let's go. Let's go.
All right, guys. Nice talking to everybody.
Guys.
Good luck, Herman. We got a long day. I've got about 10 more to do, and this is one of the better ones I've done. Thank you.
Well, hey, thank you.
All right, man. God bless.
Good luck, guys.
Bye-bye.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.